Mica, appreciate you jumping on. Yeah, massive fan of the product. Obviously, big advocates of Amplemarket over here at Bunch. Yeah, great to be chatting to you today. But how's talking about quarters? I know I saw online actually that, like you said, just finished up your Q1. Every sales team, wiping the ball back to start, go again. But how was it? Good start.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Like, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to this conversation. But yeah, it was good stuff. Like, every end of the month in sales is intense, but an end of the month and quarter like together, like more intense than that is just like the ending of the year. It's always like the one thing that I really love seeing happen is kind of like the entire team, not only the sales team, but everybody coming together, rallying behind like that one like goal, like the score. It's almost like the ARR score, like, or the logo score that you define. It's kind of like everybody wants to kind of like, work really hard to make it happen. It's like, how can I help if I'm a product manager? How can I help if I'm an engineer? And it's so cool to see like everybody kind of like crossing the finish line together, and then like, just we celebrate now, and then we. It's like the London Marathon was like a week ago or so. Yeah. Like I said, we rest, we celebrate, and then another marathon starts.
We go again. I think I put a post out about it. Wipe the board clean. You had a good month, you had a bad month, doesn't matter, but we go again and off we go. But yeah, like I said, super appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here as well. Obviously, for those who aren't aware, Mica, one of the co-founders, CRO over at Amplemarket. As I mentioned earlier, like we're big fans of the product. We've been, I think, 5-6 months in now, and been seeing some pretty great results while we've been rolling it out. But I guess for those of you who don't know, or for those of the people who don't know, what is Amplemarket? What does it do?
Yeah, so like in a nutshell, the simplest description that I can give of Amplemarket is kind of like it's an all-in-one platform powered by AI. So it's a consolidated sales platform where you will find like your data vendor, your multi-channel engagement vendor, your deliverability optimizer, and AI or intelligence. So to us, we really cater to the quota-carrying reps. So everything that they need to go about their day or about their month to actually, create their pipeline, push their pipeline forward, close their pipeline. We focus a lot on building software for those people. And so today we're kind of unleashing a bunch of agents and assistants and co-pilots across the platform. But really the ultimate goal is to help the quota-carrying reps. You can call them BDRs, SDRs, AEs, AMs, whatever name you give them. But I don't believe that they're going away anytime soon. And so we're in the business of empowering them with, better solutions. So today we call it an all-in-one sales platform powered by AI. In the future, I think everybody will drop the AI. It's, much like nobody says that like they're cloud-based software. Everybody's cloud-based software. Yeah. Everybody will be AI software in the future. But yeah.
I asked some of the team earlier today, because like I said, some of them have been using it for the last 6 months. Some of them we're still rolling it out on some of their accounts. So there's different levels of kind of maturity across the business. And I said, I'm catching up with Mica later today. Give me a quick snapshot. What is Amplemarket? And I think one of them went, it's like a virtual sales assistant for the sales team. I went, that's cool. Like, a nice summary, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good one. Like it's empowering the rep. I think like in the future everybody's going to have like an assistant, and so like here like you can think about Amplemarket like your sidekick, your co-pilot for sales.
Interesting, obviously it's focused around sales teams, built to make sales, everything you just said, built to make sales teams better, outreach better. Yeah, I think I read somewhere, your background was PhD in physics or something, nothing to do with sales. Like, so how did you, what's your story? How did you get into Amplemarket, I guess?
I'm actually back, I dropped out of my PhD to build startups with my two co-founders. So we were 2 physicists and 1 computer scientist. So very technical people, like not at all in sales. What we basically in the inception of like the journey was kind of like we wanted to work together on like real life problems that we wanted to solve. We learned about sales and was like, wow, this is so. First of all, the first thing that was like very staggering was kind of like it's so disjointed to actually run a sales motion. It's almost like I need to go and buy 7 different vendors. Now I have 7 different contracts, and the implementation is kind of like just mind-boggling. And so much of what I'm doing as a salesperson is kind of like manual work, kind of manual repeat monkey work, as I like to call it. And then like I knew nothing about sales. Like you kind of like learn about that. Like, and then you start like really learning about the sales positions, like the SDRs and the AE roles, and the fact that they have quotas. Because as a founder, you don't have quota. Right? It's like, hey, you're not let go if you don't hit your quota for 3 months in a row or whatever, right? So like you start learning about it. It's like, oh my God, like, and then you start really learning the deeper thing, which is kind of like sales is so important for any company to really subsist and just stay alive. It's like if you don't find distribution, and even the ones that say that they're product-led companies, Slack or Dropbox, I would urge you to go into LinkedIn and take a look at the size of their sales teams, right?
Yeah.
So sales is massively important to build like a long-lasting business. And so by growing, by dabbling into sales and learning it the hard way, we looked at this and we really learned a lot about it. It was like, oh man, like we ended up building a lot of tools for us to be more productive at doing sales. And then we thought, this is just too big of a problem for us to not focus on it if we have like a few takes on how we should make it better. So it was kind of like as a random journey that got us into sales, and then just understanding that it's just a massive problem that every single company actually faces, and the market was being underserved, or like the solutions out there were like not good enough, and we thought like someone needs to build like a consolidated platform. Someone needs to bring the data together with the CRM, with the engagement piece and intelligence and delivery. Someone needs to build that. And at the time, to us, that was like, okay, like we're 3 founders, we're building 3 different companies. Let's go. And so, like, we decided to take to take a stab at it, and it's like we're here today. Super happy with what we've been able to deliver to the market. Super happy in terms of what we have coming. But yeah, that's like my journey into sales. Like I think physics really teaches you, or whatever, like university or whatever, teaches you about one thing. It's kind of like, here's a problem, go solve it. And I think a company, and maybe like I'd love to have your take on this, but like a company to me is just like, hey, here's an endless to-do list of problems to solve. You check one, you get 10 new at the bottom. So like it's never ending.
That's day in, day out, problem solving, fighting fires, dealing with issues. Did you guys, interestingly, you're talking about AI agents and everything else. You guys have been around for a while now, way before the rise of all the AI SDRs and AI agents. Did you find product market fit fairly early on?
So Amplemarket really launched in 2020, still like all of these AI agents,
Yeah.
but we always had intelligence in the platform. So we had like, at the time we called this machine learning. So we had like natural language processing models running in production. We had feature extraction models, sentiment analysis. We had a lot of like machine learning models, nothing like, like the LLMs that we have available today. But our first deck for Amplemarket was always like, we believe that in the future there's going to be a company that actually combines data, engagement, and intelligence to build like a true assistant for salespeople, because so much of the work today is manual, non-value add, and we're reinforcing really poor behaviors, which is like we're just reinforcing volume, so quantity, instead of like really quality of outreach. And we believe that like, if you bring the sales rep closer to the buyer, like the sales journey closer to the buyer journey, there's like ways to do that. They're really, really hard ways to do that. But it's really hard to do with this jointed platform that doesn't communicate with your internal and external data. And so that's basically what we're in the business of. And so like then it's so interesting, because like when LLMs come out, we're like, oh man, like our vision now comes alive even faster. Yeah. And so to your point, and to talk a bit more about like the ASCRs or AI agents, my take is that they're actually oversimplifying the difficulty or how hard it is to actually build a good data platform and a good engagement platform. It's so freaking hard, and some things you cannot shortcut. You kind of like need time in market, and that's what I've learned. Like so, Amplemarket, the LLMs are going to be commoditized. So like if you tell me that like your prompts are your magic, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, good luck, because like like LLMs are going to be commoditized, models are going to become smarter. So I believe that like the underlying application layer is going to be the winning layer. And so building a really good application that is like really good data, really good like signals, really good like multi-channel engagement, that's what turns out to be really, really hard. And that's why you see all of these AI SDRs, they're just wrappers. Like they give you a dashboard, but you should ask them like what they have on the back end, but it's going to be other products out there.
I'm from people buy from people, and there's a big part of it. You mentioned it earlier. Salespeople aren't going anywhere anytime soon, as much as the naysayers may say so. But I think a lot of them, there are some good ones, but a lot of them we found, and this is why we love you guys, is it's just enabled people to do mass digital outreach quicker and at scale, personalized. And actually, it's not. And I think we've been lucky enough, like I mentioned, speaking to the team earlier today. I think they've seen like a 3x their reply rates compared to a couple of years ago when emails were dying a death, no response rates, nothing else. Even in the last 6 months, we took 3x their reply rates and open rates, click-through rates, which is great. And actually, the biggest thing is, I think it's in the last 3 months, or the first 3 months of rolling it out, it's doubled our book meetings from cold data. So with a cold prospect, no insight, by using Amplemarket data, we're doubling the amount of cold meetings we get, which has been great. But I guess, just to delve a little bit further, because there are some naysayers out there, and there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of tech. AI agents are on the rise. Lead scoring, intent data, that's been around for ages, etc. So I guess what's your approach or Amplemarket's approach to kind of how you rank priority, get those signals? How does it differ from like a Sixth Sense or Intent or those sort of tools?
So good. I love, first of all, thanks so much for sharing the results. I love that you're experiencing that. And like to your point, like my obsession, my real obsession here is to kind of like a rep should only contact the person today that wants to speak with them right now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like, if you can only take like 10 calls per day, why are you reaching out to 10,000 people per day? That makes no sense. Like, it's just like it's a broken model. And to your point, like I've seen a lot of like, and I have many stories and I have many LinkedIn posts about like ASDRs actually reaching out to me and it's like with the same email 3 times in a row within the same minute. It's kind of like, hey guys, like this is really not what you should be doing. Intent data, like you talk about like some players in the space, I think, or lead scoring, I think up until like very recently, intent data was kind of like a black box. Hey, there's intent. Someone at whatever this company was actually seeing, visiting, and it might be this person or it might not be. It's not really, right? So real intent data, with Amplemarket, you can actually trace it back to the original signal. So if we're telling you something, you can always go back and say, why is this something here? Like I can always say like, okay, this is here because we've matched this to this specific interaction and here's the link. Go and QA the link, right? So I always let you do that. Like be it like a job posting, a company or be it like an interaction with like some social content, be it like a review on a public website, right? So all of these things, I'll let you QA and go back to the signal and say like, hey, is this good enough for you or not? Like, but Amplemarket's like more than just intent data or like lead scoring. I think about this, like all of these like intent players, they send data to your CRM and then like you use another vendor to actually enrich individual data. And then you use another one to validate. And then you use another one to engage on email. And then another one to engage on social. And then potentially another one to cold call. And by now, like it's almost like the strength of the signal that came in, let's assume that was a good signal, by the time you're engaging is completely lost.
Yeah.
Right? So intent data is worth nothing if the story that you're telling the person is not tied to that signal or the reason why the timing is perfect right now. So like with Amplemarket, like we make it so like, oh, here's something that helps us like understand it might be a really good timing component for you to reach out to this account and this person right now, individualized to the person and to the account and to the signal. And then here's the story. Like, let me coach you through the story that you need to tell them because I know the outcome of like your conversations in your CRM. So I can actually coach you in terms of like getting the most out of your conversations. And hopefully that's basically what your team is seeing. And that's why we can actually like 2x within just like a small time frame. It's kind of like bringing the signal together with the engagement machine under the same roof and then like really taking the person, the account, and the signal and really creating a bespoke, unique, super tailored approach to that specific person. Because AVP talks differently or has different problems than a manager, right?
We see it, sales is all about personalization, being human, what common interests, common characteristics can you pick up on. And like, it baffles me even now with great data, great insight, great research available at our fingertips with not even just Amplemarket, but just generative AI in general, you still get people going, oh, you're an IT director. You must have this challenge. We work with loads of IT directors and you've got the same, they have the same challenge. It's like, come on, guys, this isn't personalized anymore. When you've got that level of data in the world, it's crazy. We're seeing some good results from it because, if you can say, rather than, hey, you're an IT director, you must have this challenge, here's what we work with. You can say, hey, I noticed you're on that podcast last week talking about that thing, that topic, and this is how it aligns to this proposition. That's such a stronger message to take than just, I speak to loads of IT reps, they all have the same challenge. Pick A, B, or C, which one do you want? And and that's why, like I said, anecdotally, when our BDR team, because we, inevitably at Punch, we roll everything out on our own BDR team first. Before we roll it out for clients, let's test it in-house. Do our team like it? Are our BDRs enjoying it? And they just lit up. They're like, I'm actually getting responses again. I'm getting emails, people replying to me on emails. And
I always say like intent data is like not one thing. It's not like one visitor to your website. It's kind of like, oh, a VP of sales joined a company less than 3 months ago. They have 10 open roles for account executives and SDRs, and they've raised a Series A in the past 12 months. Man, I can capture what's going in the mind of that person. When they're going to bed at night, they're thinking, my God, I need to hire. How do I build pipeline for these 10 people? All right, so like I have like strong, like my Series A came in, like so in 12 months I will need to actually present like really, double or triple my...
People that are on the old playbooks, the old... personalization scale, it's just not working. So I think that's going to make, you guys stand out and the competition. Do you where do you see the market heading in terms of, obviously you're at the forefront of this? Is this here to stay, or do you think this is now the current play, but this is what's working? You got 2-3 years, and then we've got to evolve again.
I think you're always evolving. Right? I think you're never stopping. Like I think, and again, my point is, I always look at the. First of all, I don't believe that the sales rep is going anywhere. I believe that the cost to create software is continuing to decrease exponentially. So meaning more people will be able to create software, meaning like you're no longer bound to being an engineer or whatever to create a software solution. In 12 months, it's going to be even more true. So I believe that there's going to be more companies out there. A company has a few challenges: product market fit, go-to-market fit, right? They will always need salespeople. So I believe that there's going to be more salespeople. The number of salespeople is actually going to increase, but they're going to be distributed across way more companies. And so I believe too that like the cost to create information is basically zero with the launch of ChatGPT, where you go, you write a sentence and you get a blog post. So it's like that's why like LinkedIn content is actually exploding or growing exponentially. So I believe that the world for sales teams is going to be harder. There's going to be a lot more companies that they need to connect with. The space between these companies is going to become more opaque because there's so much information out there, and teams are going to be just more nimble. So like they will need to do more with less. So they'll have different problems. These problems are going to mutate over time. So I can see a world in 2 or 3 years where we all have assistants all over the place. I have my own personal assistant. I have my assistant that actually handles my mailbox, and with whom I talk every week and say, like, these are my priorities. And you have an assistant that is actually going to be doing sales for you. Your assistant talks with my assistant, and they actually do discovery for us, and then they match us in the calendar. So I believe that all of these things are likely to happen, but I believe that the sales rep is always going to be there, and they will always need to have like an assistant or a smart assistant for them.
What's next on the roadmap for you guys? Where do you see the next few tools?
When we think about the future, and we have a few like interesting launches coming, but it's always like we think about the future or the product roadmap as like, again, we have this quota carrying rep. I don't care what name you give them. What are their problems right now? What are their problems going to be in 12 months? And how can we actually empower them more? And so one thing that I believe is kind of like LLMs are going to be commoditized. Like, do you care that I'm using like an OpenAI model or an Anthropic model or a Google model? You don't, right? So like,
I mean, the general user doesn't care.
They just care about outcomes. So that being true, I think one of the things that people care about, like, and I'd love to have your take on this one, it's kind of like you will care about like the assistant or the LLM that knows you best, like the most personalized one. So meaning like what we want to do is kind of like our platform, our assistants, to know you best. So like it's about like creating just a big model here that can be like really your extension. So you talked about like the voice cloner, it's an extension of you, right?
Yeah.
And so like we're building the most personalized, the most tailored sales assistant you can imagine, because we can be everywhere. And that's the cool thing about Amplemarket, because like, again, all of this is technology that we've built. We're not like, all of this, like, it's our data, it's our engagement, it's our social, it's like all of these things are ours. So the flywheel that we can have here from a learning standpoint, right, is massive. And so like the direction where we're going is that, like the augmentation of the rep. And we've built the application layer, which is really hard to build, and I'm like putting like a personalization layer on top of it. And the rep is always going to be there. LMs are going to be commoditized, and we believe that the application layer, the personalized application layer, is going to be winning.
The super smart move for me is it's all in one place. Like you said, I think buyers, technology buyers, are just getting fed up of, I need 25 tools. They all cost 25, 30 grand each, and and it's not sustainable anymore. So I think the fact that we really like is it's all in one place, all in one platform. You don't have to. Yes, obviously we do have some integrations, some add-ons and stuff we use outside of the platform, but generally the email, the LinkedIn, the voice notes, it's all powered, the data, the insights, it's all powered in one place. So I think it makes total sense. I think if it can start to learn every one of our reps, every individual, how I go to market differently to my other sales director, it'll be super powerful.
It's exactly that, right? So it's like you have an assistant for the company, right? So you have a bunch of agents that are company specific, and then like you have a bunch of agents that are like individual specific, because your voice is different than mine, because maybe you're more of a storyteller and a more concise, straight to the point person. So all of these things are basic. Well, it's what we've been working on, and we've been kind of like soft releasing a lot of like these updates recently. But I'm so aligned with that. Like it's kind of like it's a pretty cool world they had. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously I got my take on this because I've seen some pretty bad. We talked about terrible outreach, and you can fact it's AI generated and it's cloned, even though it's 3 different tools. There's all these AI SDRs, co-pilots, everything else out there that claim to promise the world for sales teams and automate your world and make it easier. I guess what are some of the things you're seeing that are like mistakes salespeople are making, or new reps to the role, and they're kind of saying, "Oh, this is what I need to do," and either getting the wrong tools, or the wrong process, or the wrong messaging.
That's a good one. So on the AI SDRs, I would say there's a lot of noise, but talk with their customers. I've never seen their customers really talk about their experience with them.
Yeah. I think what we'll see, my take, is a lot of these high growth VC-backed AI. They've got the word AI in their name. Scale fast, but I think I already know a few friends at a couple of companies, and they're starting to churn repeat customers very quickly from this new shiny tool syndrome.
Because it's really hard to build the underlying platform. Yeah. But to your point about like the mistakes adopting AI, I think generally, not going specifically into Amplemarket, but I think people don't have the muscle memory yet. Like when you have a muscle memory to do something, people don't remember that they have like AI that is available to them. So you kind of like need to make that very obvious. Like you can build this, you can ask this, you can brainstorm here, you can do this thing. It's kind of like if it's not embedded into your workflow, the AI is not embedded into like something that you use, most users will forget because they don't. It's not a thing that they've been used to. Going to that platform, if it's not there in front of them, done for them, most users, and it's not their fault. It's just like life is like busy. Yeah. Like I'm chasing my quota. I need to do all these things, and I forget to go to that one place.
And I think with any new tool, we've seen it here at Punch. We've got 100 reps. Some of them are better than others at adopting technology and using it, and they love it. Some of them are like, "Oh, I forgot. I haven't sent out any triggers." And you're like, "Yeah, come on, guys. It's you need to use it."
And that's the point. So like the way we try to like solve that problem is to make make the agents kind of like seamless and like invisible to you. Making it so, the way I like to think about this, like we're B2B2C software, so I care a lot about the C. Again, the quota carrying gap, going back to that. It's like, what else? We have like this thing, what is software that people use daily? And it's like Spotify people use daily. And what else do like SDRs or like salespeople? Salespeople are usually like young people. So they're on Tinder and Bumble, and they're like, okay, cool. Like, so they're used to certain like software patterns. So like the way we do it is kind of like, we have the Spotify. I like to talk about like our day. We send you like a daily list of like leads, and so like that Spotify day list, or like the Tinder potential matches. And then like on the right hand side, you have like, do you want to date them or not? Like, so like, do you want to swipe right or left on these ones?
Nice.
So we try to make it very like, there's a lot of AI that is going on in the background, but why would you? You don't need to know. Like it's like, hey, here's something that is actually very interesting to you, and that you deemed is interesting, and that we've kind of like been able to learn from you and score from you that is interesting. So do you want to date them or not? Like in the end, like the user is kind of like, oh, I want to adapt this, I want to change this, or I want to, this is amazing, I just want to send it. And so that's like the main mistake is kind of like, if you have many platforms that you need to go to, the adoption is going to be lower. If you just make it so that like, hey, in the morning, you wake up, you brew your coffee, and you take a look at this list, and you're just swiping right or left, it's like I had that problem with my team, right? So,
yeah, it's amazing. It's cool. I love it. And I've tested out a lot of others out there, and it just, like I said, it just hits home from all-in-one, streamline some of the tools we were using before. And yeah, excited to continue this partnership. I've got to ask, you mentioned it a few times now, Mica, in terms of SDRs aren't going anywhere, or the role of the SDR is not dead. So let's go down that, because I get it all the time. Obviously, we're an outbound agency. Yes, we're using all the signals you're talking about: telephone, email, LinkedIn, video, direct mail. I get a lot of questions around the telephone, particularly like, oh, it's going to be robot calling soon and all this sort of stuff. You must see another area of it, but I guess what's your take on it? But why is that human piece so important?
Again, always strong opinion, loosely held. My strong opinion is that what is sales fundamentally all about, right? Again, if you're not a transactional business where you're selling like $10 software, again, of course, like there you don't need a sales rep. It doesn't make even any sense to have like a salesperson involved in smaller deal sizes. When we're talking like $100,000 deal, like what is sales ultimately about in that deal? Like what is the function of the salesperson? And it's a trust breach. It's like you're just building trust between two humans. There's a human on this end that's actually making a commitment and buying your software, and they need to understand like when something goes wrong, because if, like things go wrong all the time in business, they will have someone that they can actually get in touch with to actually help them solve their problem. And again, this is a big investment. They're looking for ROI. There's like the world is very complex, and I still really believe that sales is ultimately about trust, and trust to this day, to the best of my knowledge, is still a very human endeavor. And so if you're not transactional, like it's almost like, think if you go to like Whole Foods, of course you can do a self-checkout thing, right? Self-checkouts have been around, like, but people still like kind of like, even there where it's very transactional, they prefer to just use the person. But anyways, if you go to Louis Vuitton, you don't have a self-checkout. No, it's because it's not transactional. So the sales process there is very different. It's going to be very tailored, very unique, very bespoke to you, right? And it's kind of like the same analogy. Do we believe that like Louis Vuitton will have self-checkouts? I don't. Yeah, but if you do, like, fine. Like, I don't believe that they will have self-checkouts. Like, there's going to, like, sales process is about something else. It's about trust. It's not about going there and buying a gallon of milk, right? That's one thing. But like, sales is ultimately about trust, and trust is a human endeavor. And I believe that the sales reps are not going anywhere. We could actually see, like, I think in general, like, just companies will be a bit nimbler, but there'll be more companies because like there's going to be like a lot more solutions with AI, and so there's going to be a lot more to sell. So they ultimately need to be empowered by AI, because it's almost like if you didn't adopt the internet for distribution in the 1990s, you're screwed. If you're still doing field sales, if you're selling software to France and you live in San Francisco and you still need to take a plane to go there, you're a bit screwed. Like, hey man, like, you can actually do a video call and you can actually speed up your sales process.
Yeah.
It's like you need to adapt it to empower the rep. It's almost like if you didn't adopt social selling or if you didn't adopt automation, you're screwed. Like you're going to be left behind. So like, I think the AI is just one of these components. It's a different component, but it's just like, okay, AI is going to be pervasive in everywhere. Like, it's not only about sales, but it's going to be like an empowerment of the rep. But ultimately, like, it's going to be like, you know, like the old Nokia logo, connecting people. We are in the business of connecting people. Once people get connected, they do people stuff. Yeah. Even if you and I have, like, in the future, our AI assistants, like you have like your sales assistant that is trying to sell to my like mailbox assistant, what they will do, they will connect us. And so you and I will be connected. And so like, we will be exchanging trust. And you and I will be like salespeople, right? So like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes that there's a lot of noise out there, and there's a lot of bad companies doing it bad or not very well currently. There's always going to be that. It's definitely a question we get asked more and more on sales pitches in new business opportunities nowadays. What about, you know, AI callers? Inbound car dealership, you call to get your car serviced. Absolutely, it can be an AI bot, it can be anyone else. But strategic enterprise selling, it's large deal sizes. It's about building trust, building connections. Human, you know, it's. I've always said face to face is belly to belly, as they say sometimes. But, it hasn't changed for 20 years, and whilst technology's evolved, I don't think unless the AI starts selling to AI, like you said. But that's the world.
And well, that's also like possible. Like again, like, but that's going to be a different world, right? That's a new economy that we don't. Like, there's going to be parallel economies eventually. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting. Appreciate your time. Yeah, super appreciate it, Mica. If anyone wants to check out Amplemarket, like I said, anyone wants testimonial case study, speak to me. I'm a big fan, a big advocate, so I can be one of your references. But if they want to check you out, where can they find you? Obviously, I'm connected with you on LinkedIn. You're always posting good content around the market, but where can people find you?
Yeah, they can find me at mica@amplemarket.com. Just email me, connect with me on LinkedIn if you want. Anybody gets access to a free trial on Amplemarket. Like, just go and request a trial. We'll connect you with a person that is going to like just walk you through like a trial of the platform. And my LinkedIn post today was not customer, but a person that is going through a trial, and they've generated 16 replies in 1.5 weeks and 3 interested meetings. And I'm like, Jesus, like they've been charged zero. So like, again, Amplemarket, we offer free trials. So go into the website, get a trial, connect with the team, connect with me, send me an email. I'd be more than happy to talk. But again, like at Amplemarket, we have like this. We have a very big ambition of capturing timing, empowering the rep. And we are in the business of building beautiful experiences, delightful experiences. We care so much about like really building a great platform for the end users, and hopefully that's what you'll find. But go test it out. If it's not what you find, send me feedback, and
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Appreciate it. Yeah, good to catch up, and take care, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.